Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rachakodash, to my honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone, peace and blessings to the whole elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. I'm going to get into this video real quick here from Redacted. It says, high alert, Trump just sounded the alarm, and we are not ready for what's coming. And then we know this is just all talk. Right, everything moves according to the Lord's prophecies. But it's just a little small, interesting video here, and I don't have much juice here, so I'm gonna kick it up a notch, so we can try to get through it, without my device dying. And we'll start right here. We'll speed it up or slow it down as we need it. So let's go and play this video. Let me make sure the volume's up. Okay, and the ticker's ticking. All right, let's get into it.
We need to wake the heck up again, not with fear, but with focus. We need to get our house in order fast. We're told that America has nothing to worry about, that America was still the dominant superpower, that the American dollar is stronger than ever. Okay, sure, wink, wink. But that was all a big lie, and President Trump knows it. The systemic destruction of America has been happening for decades. Moody's Analytics this week downgraded their forecast, saying the United States is heading for a recession. Now, you might laugh at that, but President Trump is taking it seriously. He knows this. He's fully aware of this. That's why he's taking drastic action right now.
And that's pretty much you can say that's scriptural, because the Lord is going to bring. That doesn't speak like a recession, but I mean, what the Lord is going to bring upon America, Babylon the Great, and the whole earth is pretty much going to be. I mean, you can call it a recession if you want, because He says He's going to bring famine, pestilences, diseases, and things of that nature. And also what He said before, where He said to get your house in order. Now He was just talking, right? But the scriptures do speak about getting your house in order, and it's not talking about doing spring cleaning. Okay, it's talking about you. You are the house. Okay, your body. Okay, the spiritual house spoken about in 1 Corinthians 3. I want to say this. 1 Peter 2 or 2 Peter 2, like around verse 4 or 5 or somewhere around there. But it talks about a spiritual house. It's talking about the person. And there's other scriptures that we could bring up, but it's talking about you as a person, as knowing the signs of the times, because the prophecies, the Lord gave us insight on the signs of the times, the things to look at, so we can look towards the end of this current society and whatnot. Okay, so getting your house in order, you Israelites, basically getting right with the Lord. All right, confessing your sins, acknowledging that you went off and that you really want to turn back to the Heavenly Father because you don't want to be deleted. Okay, so getting your house in order, but it also just back forward, speeding back up again. Recession, where the Lord is already doing things. He's shutting down all kinds of jobs, stores, and whatever else you could think of. Okay, so we headed into Jacob's trouble.
Trying to scare all of us, but taking action in ways that will change America forever. And hey, the Fed might be ready to slash interest rates in September, that we just found out. You know why they do that, right? Because there is trouble on the horizon. Of course, the Fed is the largest criminal cabal in the United States. We don't need to go down that road at the minute. And the Fed. But anyway, something overnight just happened, something massive. America's national debt officially crossed the $37 trillion mark. This puts U.S. total debt up $780 billion since that debt ceiling was raised just a few weeks ago, right before the July 4th holiday.
If you've been diagnosed with kidney cancer, liver cancer, testicular cancer, or ulcerative...
To go right before the July 4th holiday.
Bear with me because I was going to pull up a scripture. Yeah, I watched this video through. No commercials whatsoever. Now I'm trying to record and voila, right? So let me go over here to the prophet. I can't see again. I got glasses. Okay, here we go. Habakkuk, chapter 2. And we'll start at 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Who's it talking about? It's talking about Esau, Edom. He's ready to be the wicked man of the earth. He's known as the wicked. He's known as death. And he's known as the devil. Right? That's the man. Job 9:24. The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? And he's the only one who's trying to say that the Messiah is this, God is this, and now he's trying to say that he is God. Okay, he's the only one doing these things. He's the only one that painted the angels, and made them little white little Cupid babies. Right? There's not a Chinese angel with the I don't know, looking like a shogun or a samurai. All right, there's no I don't know, whatever you could think of. All right, the other nations are not doing these things. The other nations are not making movies, and the Israelites are portrayed by so-called white people. Now, if they had their hand in the movie, okay, whatever. But you get my point, though. All right, Esau's doing these things, and he loves to make biblical movies. Okay, it's funny how because it wasn't the first time I watched it. Last night I was falling asleep. I've seen it before, but I watched it again. What's the name of the movie? The Harder They Fall. Pretty good movie. I haven't seen it. So they say the characters, it's supposed to be so-called black people, right? And it's played, by this, they had a good cast to it. So these black, cowboys or whoever, all right, they existed, but the story is fictional, right? And that's funny because, but then when you take Esau, he'll take fictional characters, okay, and then he'll make it based on real history. Wait a minute now. Well, if these people are fictional, why did you make a story centered around their life or whatever the case may be? But when it comes to them, they'll take also real people that existed and then give you real story. And of course, they spice things up and amplify for the theater. But they'll make a story based on that real person's real life. But when it comes to a real so-called Israelite that was alive, oh no, the story's fictional. Characters might be real, but the story we showed you was just entirely just fictional. But he shows the hypocrisy with Esau, man. But it goes to show you how he'll subtly attack the tribes on every level. And our people haven't woken up to this yet. So he's that wicked, man. His soul is not upright in him. Right from the womb they go forth speaking lies. But the just shall live by his faith. The just are the faithful believers, man. Here's the point I want to get down to. It says, yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, which is what? Not drink, okay? It's his policies, his ways, his laws, his ways of life, living, thinking, eating, whatever. Excuse me, governing yourself. Same-sex marriages, children having a choice to change their sex. Probably some other things I can't even think of right now because it's such a laundry list with Esau. But that's his wine, his way of thinking, not according to the Bible, but according to the Bible of Esau, right? According to Esau, not the ways of the Heavenly Father. Okay, it tells you that in Job 21. They desire not the knowledge of the ways of the Heavenly Father. So what profit is to them for them to serve Him? That's the same sentiment Cain had. Cain knew everything that Abel knew, right? But he just didn't want to do right. Okay. What profit was for me to give up the proper sacrifice? I'm just give the Lord this. Okay. He ain't gonna know. You see? It says he is a proud man. It says, and there's so many multiple times it's talked about his pride, right? A proud man neither keepeth at home, and he's everywhere, is he not? He was a fugitive and a vagabond, so that goes on down through their generations to real time today. They're all over there, everywhere, okay? Mixed amongst the nations, pretending to be the nations, okay? Some of them actually look like one of the people of the nations, and it's not them, but you'll never know because you think it's a person of their nation. But it's Esau's bloodline, right? He's displayed everywhere. Who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, see? And cannot be satisfied. And he's not satisfied not until he gets his new world order, which he's not going to complete, but he is going to get a chance to launch it. But gather unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. And that goes into his micro C-HIP system and his digital banking system. He wants to heap everyone to himself by implanting you with the micro C-HIP and reforming and reshaping humanity after his likeness. He's trying to rewrite the history of the Bible after himself. That's why it says the Bible of E. Okay? There's not a creation story. No, there's a Big Bang. All right? Man was made into such and such image. Now what happened was monkeys evolved, apes evolved, and now people. And they became the cavemen of the earth, the Ooga Boogas. Now we all come from the cavemen and we're all just upright people, no more Ooga Boogas. And before that we were apes. See? That's Esau. Miracle on the right hand side. Well, he does a miracle on the left hand side through technology and science and witchcraft and sorcery and magic, things of that nature. Okay, check out Disney. Mickey Mouse and the Witch in a witch costume or wizard costume. Mickey Mouse, the wizard mouse. I don't know what they call him, but I mean, pretty much Mickey Mouse as a wizard. Okay, with a wand. All these things are real life things that they use. You know, well, you get the point. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. And that's what he's done. He's taking from everybody on the planet, man. Now, the ones that matter are the Israelites, but if we just step back at the bigger puzzle, he's stripped up every nation on the planet, probably even backstabbed every nation on the planet. Okay, he's taking things that are not his. If you don't agree with him, he'll take you down and take what he wants anyways. If you do agree with him, he'll shake your hands, and as soon as you turn around, he'll put a knife on your back. That's the devil, see? And say, woe to him that increases that which is not his. And all these goods gotten unjustly, how does it word it? Unjustly gotten or something like that. But anyways, the point I'm trying to get to says that these things shall be translated from one people to another. And those are going to be the Israelites, because as it says in Daniel chapter 7, the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess it even forevermore. Whose kingdom are we going to take? We're going to take down Esau's kingdom by way of Lord Yahushua, because we're not going to have to physically fight. Now, at some point, his men are going to get spiritual powers lower their number. But ultimately, the taking down of Esau, the binding of the strong man, is coming through the preaching of the word. And then the Lord is going to physically come and take that strong man down himself. Esau, okay? The Lord is going to take him down. But it says that which is not his, how long, especially, and the main thing he took was our identity and our land, right? It says how long. And that's what we're asking. How long, oh Lord, will it be? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And when you go into this word thick clay here, in the Hebrew, the word there is ibat yat. And it says weight of pledges, light it up, heavy debts. All right. And that's what he just mentioned in that video there. This is what I wanted to get to, heavy debts. And so he wants to reset the whole system and make it seem like everything is just, back at a fault. Okay, everything's back, I guess in a sense it will be, but look what comes. Once the system is reset, the new system that comes online is the digital system. And guess who's control of that? Just, you guessed it, the bankers. That's why they want to do away with paper currencies and create the digital system. And when that system comes back online, they will have perfect, control and rulership over everybody in the earth who takes their device. Not just have it because they have it, but who takes their device. They will have, those people in subjection, because they'll be able to control them because of the device. Okay, that's why I always mention that the Repo Man movie. That's a good movie too. Okay, where people weren't paying their debts on, maybe they got a lung or a kidney or I don't know, whatever body part that you needed from these people, and you weren't paying. They sent their Repo Man, not to repo your car, your truck, or your boat. Okay, they went to repo that body part that you were paying on. Okay, and if it was a severe enough body part, well, guess what? You're gonna die, but you gotta pay your debts. So that's how the system's gonna be. Okay, you're gonna be in line with our system and our ways of life and thinking, whatever we say. And if not, we'll turn your chip off, and that's it. We don't have to deal with you. And if you're one who doesn't want to take it, well, we're gonna seek to delete you anyways. So let's go back over here. Might have to find it again. Yeah, I figured that much. I think I just watched this a little bit. Yeah, here it is.
As an older adult, I didn't want to spend all my time binge watching television, so I said, let me go
right before the July 4th holiday. Cool. And that means we're adding $22 billion per day to our national debt. People laughed at Thomas Massey. The 1980s, my mom used to yell at me about standing there with the refrigerator door open for too long because it would waste electricity. My mom should go yell at these people. $22 billion a day? Are they insane? Now, I've spoken to White House insiders who've told me personally that Trump knows we are in big trouble, but he doesn't really want to scare us, right? He's the president of the United States, after all. Trump knows the next great conflict isn't tanks and dogfights.
And that's the thing with America, where America doesn't tell their people what's really going on. And if they do, there's a bigger purpose. Because, everything is controlled by the bankers anyways. So, you have other countries that will put their people up on game. But when it comes to America, all right, they'll allow you to go to the football game and the baseball game, and go to the concert and the fair, state fairs and whatever else. Okay, while other things that are happening that are seriously affecting your life, and they won't tell you a thing about it. Okay, and what is it called? This place, in Jeremiah, the land of unwalled villages. As a matter of fact,
supply chains, it's permits, it's who controls the stuff that every missile, every jet engine, every chip fab, every power system is built upon. And the only way America digs itself out from this mess right now is to become a powerhouse once again here at home in manufacturing. And
see, that's that make America great again stuff. Okay, where people actually truly believe in this, which is another part of the American dream, right? Okay, it's just more from a governmental standpoint, but people really truly believe that America is going to be made great again, or maybe some people still believe, because the majority of them that voted for Trump, or even if they didn't vote for Trump, whoever, right? They're starting to realize, like, hey, I mean, it's starting to click finally with some people, but like we've been saying, every president is going to tell you what he or she is going to do before they become president, which of course a woman hasn't become president yet, but they run, so I'm saying he or she. Every president is going to tell you what they're going to do until they actually get into office, and then they might do one of the two of the things, but everything else has nothing to do with what they told you they're going to do when they get into office, because it's all playing on your emotions, okay, making you lean towards them, and then they're going to go by the script that they were given. And if that script just so happens to have a couple of those things in it that they told the people, then that's why those words are fulfilled. Not because it was because of the people, right? Because these politicians and people like that are liars, man. They're actors.
Mining. Or we will become a vassal of China. Many people believe in many ways we already are. And by the way, China knows it.
And that can lead to the scriptures too, because the scriptures speak about in 2nd Ezra, I want to say it's either 14 or the second half of chapter 15, but it speaks about pretty much China, because that's the one nation on this earth who's fashioned itself the most like America. Okay, and a big portion of that is when you look into their Belts and Roads Initiative and what China has been doing for a while with the Belts and Roads Initiative. And then, other things. I think, if I'm correct, they even fool around with electrical vehicles, the EVs, or other things of that nature. So basically, China is the Chinese America, if that makes sense. Okay, which is why the scriptures speak of it in that manner. Okay, and they think that they're going to be the next superpower on the earth after America is taken down. But that all leads to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, where everybody's going to fight one another for power. And I say that all the time. Because the NATO and the EU are already going to be broken up. Because they're going to break up from America, and destroy Babylon the Great, along with the BRICS. But then the BRICS can be broken up. All right. Especially with Russia and China. But you could probably throw India in there, or whoever else. Think about somebody like Xi Jinping. Okay. All these people are going to want to rule the earth next after America. Okay. And so what's going to happen? They're going to fight for it. Well, whoever's the biggest, baddest badass is going to be the ruler, and they're going to fight one another. Okay, but that's when Yahushua is going to make them stop fighting one another to fight him, because it's foolish to continue fighting against one another if this guy here is here for all of us, and he's better than all of us. So let's fight him. Okay, so Russia, China, the whole BRICS coalition, they're all going to be broken up at some point after Babylon the Great is destroyed. How it's going to happen, we don't know. Okay, we don't know. Lord will we ever know? We'll see that from the chariot. Okay, but they're going to be broken up, and they're going to fight one another, and then the Lord's going to finish them off. But let's keep going.
And for years, they've been winning that quiet war without firing a shot. I spoke with an intelligence source this week, and I'm going to just tell you, he said, Clayton, Americans have no idea how badly China has outmaneuvered us, and we'd be stunned to learn the level of infiltration by the Chinese inside of our own borders. It's bone-chilling. I mean...
And we spoke about it. The other brother spoke about that when it came up, where you had Chinese guys who looked like they were, like, almost men of military or some kind of, little stature. Like, it wasn't just no rinky dink, any kind of Moabite. Okay, these guys looked like they had, some up their sleeve. They were coming over here. They were getting off of buses and stuff like that. That was around the time period when it was first starting to spark up. Right, a little bit after when they started to make a big fuss about the Darien Gap. Okay, and then it eventually moved to, I don't think it was Cali and the Canada border. I think it was New York first. And around that time, somewhere around that timeline there, these Chinese men started popping up, talking about they're coming over here. But that's what was happening when the border was open. Okay, people of all nations were coming over here, and some of these men were just sleeper cells. All right, some of these guys were probably with the United Nations. Who knows? Even enemies are over here. All these different people, are over here, and they were coming in through the so-called migrant situation, and that was probably Biden's biggest agenda, to open up the borders, let these people come in, right? And Trump was to go and finish off the second half of that task. Let's keep going.
Remember when 60 Minutes did the whole expose about all of these military-aged Chinese men coming across the border into the United States? Yeah, people were kind of quiet about that. That's just one piece of it. I mean, we've all read the reports about how China has spy equipment or kill switches built into electronics and solar panels that are sold here in the United States. But it's actually much worse than that. The truth is, China's Communist Party has been quietly, systematically outmaneuvering the United States for over 2 decades while we've been asleep at the wheel, while liberals have been outsourcing everything that made America great. And now the consequences are here. So I'm going to drop some bombshells on you right now that should make every American sort of sit up straight with a steely spine. So China refines over 90% of the world's tungsten, roughly 85% of the magnesium, around 70% of graphite, and they dominate processing for rare earths, go into everything from guidance systems to EVs to microelectronics, everything the United States relies on.
Now, that's one thing that he's speaking about with China, but on a general level, we know these resources are used for a lot of different things. All right. What was the daggone event? Was that the one in North Carolina? But I know there's so many things that happen in so many places. But a lot of these things have to do with natural resources, oil and other, things like lithium, and it's all, to create certain things, weapons, technologies, and things that they need. Okay, and so, but this particular angle, he's talking about China, right?
The Chinese are clamping down and stopping the exports, or at least really slowing down the exports of materials needed for the defense companies, the defense sector.
So the next phase of the Xi Jinping-Trump conflict isn't fought with bullets. I know everyone wants to focus on Taiwan. That won't be the story. The real story are the supply chains, the trade routes, the massive shipping ports that are all controlled by China. All of the copper, all of the tungsten, all of the rare earth minerals, all of the graphite. So we're in the final stages right now, and it's coming home to roost on American soil, which is why I'm showing you this information right now. So we're talking about Beijing's mineral war, and it may be the most powerful weapon in its arsenal. Stop sending America your rare earth minerals as a response to President Trump's tariff play. Now, no other president has been able to call it out thus far, what Beijing is doing. Not Bush, certainly not Obama, certainly not Biden, who was receiving millions of dollars from the Chinese Communist Party. But Trump is on it, and I get it. He's not trying to scare Americans because it's bad. I mean, really bad. America has been outsourcing all of our mining. All of it. That's not a marketplace. That's the leverage that China has right now. I mean, the Clintons sold off our uranium to Russia. Now add this. As of today, here, early August 2025, today on this Sunday, August 10th, there are 0 active tungsten mines operating on U.S. soil. 0. Which means we import 100% of it. About 37% of it comes from China. So if Beijing squeezes, projects stall, prices spike, that's how you win a war without firing a single shot. Choke off the United States.
And that's not going to happen. All right, there's going to be a World War III. Most definitely going to be World War III. Let's type this in. Whoa. Actually, I might not be able to get it because I believe that's in the Apocrypha. Yeah, but it does say woe in Revelation. I think it says woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Actually, that one's in is that Revelation 12:12? Yeah, woe to them. Let me see. So many woes. there's right there. Yeah, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. But I'm looking for right here. Yep, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Matter of fact, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. World War I, World War II. Oh, actually, one woe is past, World War I, and behold, there come two woes more after, World War II, and then World War III. And here in verse 14 of chapter 11, the second woe is past, World War II. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly, World War III. Because when you look at the time period of World War, as a matter of fact, let's see. What were the years of World War II? Got to click. September 1st, 1939, September 2nd, 1945. So, 45 again. Okay, let's do this. Well, I was counting some numbers, bear with me. 1945. 15, 25. Was that about 80? Because I should have it somewhere here. Yeah. He said 1945. Now, I'm not saying this is obviously not because, I'm just giving some random. Yeah, that's about 80. So from 1945, if those dates were right, okay, 1945 to whatever point, all right. But you can see that's a short amount of time, all right. So it says it come quickly, right? Hold on, bear with me. Okay, yeah. So, like I was saying, that was a short amount of time from the last World War, okay, to whatever point this new one is going to be. All right. So the third will come in quickly. All right. But the point, like this guy was saying, stopping, that's how you end the war with this and that, or stop the materials. And no, man, that's not going to happen. All right. Let's get this. In fact, is that the one in Joel 3? No, it might be in Isaiah. I'm thinking of mustereth the host to battle. Or it might be not Joel. Damn, who better, man? You know what? Let me get the better out of here. Yeah. Alright, good. Well, it could be it's mustereth the host to battle. Right. Okay, I'll say Isaiah, yep. Isaiah 13:4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts must be the host of the battle. Right? Yeah, so I was saying though, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, at the tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua host must rid the host to battle. It will be a World War III, and that's the point.
Thousands of weapon parts in U.S. weapon systems rely on minerals controlled by China. Could this put U.S. defense readiness at risk?
All of the rare earth minerals that the Biden administration, the Obama administration stopped mining. So Beijing isn't hiding it. They've actually tightened export rules on rare earths. And this year, they've expanded control and tracking over domestic tungsten trade, sold as security designed for strategic stockpiles and bargaining power. So what are we doing about it? What is Trump doing about it? Is he sitting there doing the same thing as Biden and Obama? Nothing?
And it's not as big of a deal as he's making it out to be. It doesn't matter what resources get moved or stopped or shipped off here, there, and everywhere. Doesn't matter. All right. The Lord is going to bring World War III. He's going to, my determination, Zephaniah 3 and 8 is to gather the nations and pour upon them my indignation. Just kind of roughly paraphrase, because that was a pretty huge verse there. But the point is, like we read this here in Isaiah 13:4, the Lord is going to muster the host of battle, man. Doesn't matter about resources. Okay, now of course you do need resources, you need sustenance and things of that nature. You know, even money to kind of fuel a war. But the point is, what he's saying, if China just chokes off some resources here and there, certain things, it's going to stop America from, no, it's not going to happen, man. That's not prophetic. Okay, Scripture speak about Jacob's trouble, pestilence, famines, diseases, and so on and so forth, and war, man. Let me get that. I mean, what else can we say? But besides what the scriptures say. Let's get Luke, since we always go to Matthew. Kind of moving this guy around, he's in the way. All right, Luke 21. Oh, yeah, actually, it's at the top. Yep. And they asked him, saying, Luke 21:7, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and the time draw near. Go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass. See? There's no stopping this nation from doing this or that nation. No. Every nation that has been allotted to come down to the battle of Yahushua is going to do just that, because that was sanctioned, all right, before even Yahushua was created, okay? That was the will of the Heavenly Father before everything, okay? For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Okay, so let's keep going.
Absolutely not, thankfully. I mean, you can criticize Trump on a range of things, and I do here on this show regularly. But on this is where things get hopeful. President Trump has made mineral independence a national priority. In March of 2025, he invoked the Defense Production Act to accelerate U.S. mining and processing. The message is simple. Process here or lose access to America's golden age. And that's the kind of blunt force policy that you use in economic warfare. And we are in an economic warfare like never before. So Trump's message was clear to American businesses. Invest here on U.S. soil, buy minerals from U.S. miners, and you won't get slapped with huge tariffs. Now, many liberal pundits said that this wouldn't work, that this was a terrible idea, that liberal companies like Apple wouldn't bend the knee. I mean, Apple, for crying out loud, is the company that still says we're going to go along with the DEI practices.
Apple's board is recommending investors reject a proposal to seize DEI efforts at the company.
They sell LGBTQ plus watch bands for their Apple watches. I mean, this is a very liberal company, by all accounts, right?
This goes to show you they're in line, which of course we know it, but I'm just making a point. They're in line with any other agenda Esau has. Love is love. Man can marry man, woman can marry woman. Person can marry dog or animal. We used to hear it often with dogs and stuff, but people do probably the horses and all these different things. We talked about that, the children choosing their genders, maps, and just so many other, devices of wickedness that Esau is using against the people, especially you Israelites, but against all the people.
Apple wouldn't bend the knee. Of course they wouldn't. But oh boy, were they wrong. Just look at Apple this week. You have Apple CEO Tim Cook announcing that Apple will not only buy American-made and mined rare earth minerals, but they're also going to open multiple new factories all across the United States. Watch.
We're committed to buying American-made advanced rare earth magnets developed by MP Materials, which will become part of Apple's devices shipped around the world. MP is the only fully integrated rare earth producer in the United States, and with this partnership, they'll be significantly expanding their flagship facility in Fort Worth, Texas. Every single new iPhone and every single new Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass made in Kentucky.
Our companies...
And they're good for riling up, especially the Edomites anyways, in particular, the pride of the American Edomites, okay, or anyone else that might be along with it, but it's mostly those Edomites. Because all you got to do is say American made, America this, America that. Oh, my great country, America, America, man. You just, throw these words around and it gets the people riled up, okay? Not knowing that America is you know, handing you a nice triple layer cake, and as soon as it gets in your hands, they plan on pushing it in your face. Okay, the people will, you know, a lot of people are not waking up to the fact that America doesn't care about you because it's the elites that run it, and your president's a puppet, and everything is a show. Okay, and you know, the few people that are waking up, it's just not enough. All right.
Follow Apple's lead on a regular basis, from HP to Sony. All sorts of companies follow Apple's lead across the industry. They do. Not only that, they copy their products a lot of times as well. So this is going to reverberate all across the United States. And Trump knows the importance of getting these American mines back online. Tesla, for instance, buying American minerals now and investing in American mining, particularly silver and other precious rare earths. Apple buying American minerals. We now have a few of these mines that are active and a few that are up and running. They are being rewarded by companies like Apple, Tesla, Ford, Chevy. Trump is encouraging American companies to buy American minerals, not from China or Russia, but right here at home. But let's be real, critical minerals aren't just commodities anymore, they're battlefield assets. So whoever controls these inputs controls the outcomes. And
I did just kind of talk about that, you see? Resources here, resources there. All right. That's like it.
Tungsten? That's the keystone. It's the highest melting point of any metal, off the charts hardness. You want armor-piercing munitions, turbine blades, aerospace components. We're expanding now to building nuclear reactors on the moon, as was announced last week. Right now, the scoreboard says China 1, America 0. China controls almost all of it. But that's why this moment matters, because Trump is...
And ain't nobody putting no nuclear reactor on the moon. Just to note that real quick, man. It ain't gonna happen.
Flipping the board over when Biden didn't give a rat's ass about America watching America fail. So critical minerals, in my opinion, are the oil of the 21st century. Unless America regains control over its own reserves, it will remain vulnerable to Beijing's silent blockade. Now, Trump's doctrine is clear. Treat mineral independence like a wartime priority, because China already does. So let me show you the play that I'm watching right now. So that's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is tied directly to Trump's move here on bringing American mining back to America. That company is American Tungsten Corporation. Here's their ticker on your screen. It trades on major brokers like Interactive Brokers, Charles Schwab. To me, this is the only one company that checks all of the boxes when it comes to tungsten. The most important of which is that they have the best chance, according to publicly available information, of being the first in America to bring tungsten production back to the United States. The first. Yeah, I'm talking first mover advantage here with Trump's new minerals push. Now, I have thoroughly studied this company, and here's what I want to report back to you this year. So it's hard for me not to get excited about this one, guys. I've been looking at it for quite a while. The U.S. hasn't mined tungsten commercially since 2015, relying heavily on imports, 37% of which comes from China alone in the latest data that we have. So this is a slap in the face of the Trump administration. Tungsten is indispensable. It's particularly critical for military uses. And with that, there are currently 0 active tungsten mines on U.S. soil. 0. Just let that sink in. So if the CEO of American Tungsten, Ali Haji, can execute on his business plan, American Tungsten could be the first and only tungsten miner in America that we know of within the next 2 years. I mean, that's a trophy asset right there. Now, the reason I see this as having a first mover advantage is because much of the legwork is already in motion. American Tungsten owns an option for 100%.
So tungsten, due to its unique properties like high melting point, hardness, and density, is used to create a wide range of products. It's commonly found in filaments for light bulbs, cutting tools like drill bits, and armor-piercing ammunition, which is one of the things, if I'm correct, he actually mentions that, if not, all right, armor-piercing ammunition. Tungsten is also a key component in high-temperature alloys for aerospace and defense applications. Okay, so 2 things there, as well as in radiation shielding and X-ray tubes. Additionally, it is used in various industrial applications, including as a catalyst and in the production of wear-resistant materials like tungsten carbide. Aerospace components. Tungsten is used in turbines, turbine blades, rocket nozzles, and other components that must withstand extreme heat and stress in aerospace applications. Ooh, which makes sense. All right, why they want it so much? Because they want to keep going up there in space. They're talking about going to the damn moon. They're talking about going to Mars. Hey, these people are crazy. All right. X-ray tubes, hard materials and cutting tools, tungsten carbide, very hard. Drill bits and industrial machinery, mining construction, drilling and cutting tools for mining and construction industries. Yep, because if you got the tungsten tools, hey, you got some good tools to keep on mining and drilling for more of these resources, more iron ore, more oil, whatever you need. Other tools is used in tools for machining, woodworking, and even in snow tires for studs. High density applications. Armor piercing ammunition. Tungsten's high density makes it suitable for use in armor piercing projectiles. Weights and counterweights. Tungsten is used in fishing. Radiation shielding. Tungsten's density also makes it useful for shielding against radiation. Yeah, I bet the blast doors in their domes are probably made of tungsten. Okay. That's a good question right there. I might ask AI that off camera if I remember. Makes it suitable for electrical contacts. Tungsten or gas, welding electrodes. I mean, there's more stuff you can read on that. All right, tungsten, and why it's so important to these people. Let's try to finish this video off.
Of the IMA past producing tungsten mine in Idaho, right on American soil. Now, for a time, that mine was the 4th largest tungsten mine in the United States when one of its previous owners operated. That's a fact. CEO Ali Hanji has come up with a business plan that aims to put it back into production in the next 12 to 18 months.
The requirement of tungsten and its production to be brought online domestically is of paramount importance to the administration. So we acquired or optioned the mine in 2024. Having since done that, we have done a number of things, including rehabilitation work, which is now commencing. We're also looking at permitting, and the goal is to bring production online in the next 18 months to be the fastest tungsten producer in North America.
Well ahead of any current peer in the marketplace. So American Tungsten is my number one and my only tungsten opportunity that I'm featuring for you on this show for this very reason. Full stop. And here's the icing on the cake. American Tungsten is already in talks with the Trump administration and with state-level officials. Yes, you heard me right. They're in talks with the Trump administration right now. So the plan is to raise $20 million, and then if all goes according to the outline, to mine up to 900 tons per day of ore, which is...
But I thought they were broke, though. Where did we get these millions and millions? Like Trump would say, millions and billions and billions and millions. Where you getting these from? Where these dollars are coming from? And where you get these dollars from? Well, they broke, right? Hey, they're in debt, but still got money, though. That's the white man system for you, right?
Equal to about 8% of America's tungsten needs right now. No more China.
Meanwhile, all right, you got veterans in need, homeless people in need, hungry children, missing people, missing children, and anything else I could think of that you might could think of, okay? But you got millions and millions for mining and wars and stuff like that, and billions and billions to give to the Amalekites, those Israelis.
In this equation. That's precisely the kind of business that I like profiling for you. Tungsten is the second hardest element in nature. Only diamonds are harder. That's why their business plan is potentially to put the IMA mine back into production after nearly 5 decades. This is historic. So from my side of things, the fact that there are 0 active operational tungsten mines on U.S. soil, and that the IMA mine has the best shot at becoming the first one, is extremely compelling from an investing perspective. You guys know that these are the types of companies I love investing in. And you also know that...
And as deep as all this sounds, is base level stuff, man. It really is. Because it's not going to stop the prophecy, okay? Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. None of these shall fail, none shall want me. None of these shall fail. It's talking about the prophecies, the words of the Heavenly Father coming into fruition within this earth. And he says that in Ezra chapter 9, 2 Ezra chapter 9, he's going to visit the earth with signs and so on and so forth.
I like investing in the
and part of those signs is seeing World War III happening.
Executive teams of certain companies that know what they're doing. I like to know that there's a good team behind these projects, and the CEO, Ali Hanji, has made me very happy with the caliber of people that he's assembled to start mining on U.S. soil. He brought in geologist Austin Zinser because of his extensive background in managing tungsten projects. He also brought on James Whitaker to join the board. He came from a $6 billion company where he had a very secure job, a juicy paycheck. He didn't have to leave that job, but he did. The second board member that joined is really a masterstroke in my view. His name is Dan Nicholas. If you don't know his bio includes this key component. He was responsible for the $40 billion investment portfolio of the United States Department of Energy's Loan Program Office, including both the Advanced Technology Vehicles Manufacturing Loan Program and the Title 17 program. So he is a Department of Energy insider. He was brought on to help secure government funding. So guys, do your own due diligence on American Tungsten Corporation. I'll have links to their website, their information in the description below. And this is a major moment in the United States history, I believe, right now. Either we bring in a golden age of America, truly, and bring mining back to American soil, or we flat out fail, and we completely bend the knee to China. And I don't believe President Trump is going to allow that to happen. That's my belief. Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the description. I'll have links to their website and everything else there for you.
And that's pretty much it. I got nothing else really to say about this. Just thought it was a little interesting video that I saw pop up. So I watched it. So Lord willing, you edify to next thing. I shall follow. Shalom.